Okay, verse 21. Now we're going to look at the sons of Shem. Right, there's the second longest number of verses after the sons of Ham. To Shem also, verse 21. To Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, the elder brother of Japheth, children were born. Okay, here we see elder brother Japheth mentioned, so okay, that ought to then imply that Shem was older, and Canaan, or at least Ham as the youngest, that would put Japheth then in the middle. Okay. Now, why Eber mentioned? Eber, Hebrew, that's where the word Hebrew comes from. Eber, Hebrew. Okay, so he will be born only later on, right? He's not, sure not the, but he is, because he is the one from whom they will get the name Hebrew, so therefore Eber is mentioned first. Okay, it's like when in the genealogy of Jesus, the son of David, right? And then it starts with Abram and his children, but it starts with the son of David, and then it only continues, and we meet David later on, the same way as what's done here to draw out Eber as the father of the Hebrews. The sons of Shem, verse 22. The sons of Shem, Elam, Asher, Arpachshad, Lut, and Aram. Verse 23. The sons of Aram, Cush, Bul, Gether, and Mash. Verse 24. Arpachshad's fathered Shelah, and Shelah fathered Eber. And see, here we meet Eber again. Okay, but he was mentioned first. Why? Because that's where the name comes from. So, and here only later on in the line we meet him in verse 24. Verse 25. To Eber were born two sons. The name of the one was Peleg. For in his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. Okay, so what does it mean? Some people like, this is now the time when the continent started splitting apart. The earth was divided. Most likely a lot simpler explanation, and that is when the continents appeared, kind of. It is when God, when chapter 11 is going to happen. Okay, so in the days of Peleg is when the Tower of Babel happened, and then the earth, the language divided, so the earth was divided. That makes a lot more sense from the text itself. Okay, so I don't think about that other, the earth was now split, kind of, continents came into being. No, that you can't, this is not the text, because the context of it, Babel falls the next, and we see the earth was divided. That is what happened at the Tower of Babel. Verse 26. Joktan fathered Almadad, Sheleph, Azamah, Jerah, Adoram, Uzal, Dikla, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All these were the sons of Joktan. To verse 29. Okay, just the names different again. Ophir we've seen as well before in the Garden of Eden. Verse 30. The territory in which they lived extended from Mesha in the direction of Sephar to the hill country of the east. So they were living in the east. Verse 31. These are the sons of Shem by their clans, their languages, their lands, and their nations. Okay, just exactly the same for Shem with Ham as well, with Japheth, the sons of Shem, their languages. But remember, at that stage there were no clans, all spoke one language. Verse 32. These are the clans of the sons of Noah, according to their genealogies in their nations, and from these the nations spread abroad on the earth after the flood. Okay. The next chapter we will see that the nations did not split immediately. They tried to stay in one place. God told them, be fruitful, multiply, and fill the earth. Okay, so they are going in chapter 11 not do that. In this chapter, it's a list of the people. It's looking forward to the Bible story, but it has not happened yet. Okay, it happened like in the days of Peleg, right? It didn't happen immediately. So the people were still kind of together, and then they started spreading or splitting off after the Tower of Babel, when God then split the languages and they started speaking different languages, and that made them then split up in the different groups, developing their own cultures, their own lands, their own absolutely everything. Okay, conclusion of chapter 10 then. We have a list of the nations. As I already mentioned, we are in this national racist village here in south, in Yangon, like south, just west of the city center. Okay, and you can meet different nationalities here. They're all same country and same state, with in the Chin state 53 different nations, different groups, different languages. I've mentioned already a few of those languages in a previous video. You can go and listen to that. But this is a little bit further back. All the earth, all the people still one, coming from Noah. They all seemingly lived together, planted, built a city from which they wanted to kind of stay, which we will see in the next chapter. But in this chapter, we just see 70. I mentioned why the 70. That's a perfect number, and as well 70 people went down to Egypt, right? So 70 of them is mentioned. The biggest focus is on Ham, the sons of Ham, because they are the biggest enemies, and they are the enemies where they're coming from Egypt, the enemies they're going to Canaan, right? And the other enemies they meet on the road, and the other enemies they will meet later on, Philistines, for example. I mean, not only later on, but actually very close to the land of Canaan and different groups that live there. So this is why there's such a big focus on them. Okay, but Shem, understandably, the big focus on Eber as the name where the word Hebrew comes from, and Shem as where Abram is going to come from, and then the ones who ultimately the Israelites, and the story will continue with them. Japheth is kind of like on the outskirts. He said the people living in the coastal lands, they're not that important. Yes, they will be the biggest group, we know that kind of, but to the story itself, the enemies, they're not the biggest enemies at that stage, okay, and they're not the people that will continue the story kind of idea. So they're like on the outskirts, mentioned first, they're done, they dusted. It's not the fact that they're mentioned first doesn't mean that they're the oldest. We've seen that Japheth most likely was in the middle son, Shem the oldest, and Ham the youngest. Okay, so everything is set up for the next part of the story, which is going to be how they did not listen to God. Sin again comes in, they did not listen to God, they stand up against God, and we will see that in the next chapter. So join me a little bit later. We will go to the tower here in the village, and we in this park, and then we will do chapter 11. Thank you very much.